It is a tradition like no other, and it comes this week. Welcome, everybody, to the 40th consecutive Big East tournament inside Madison Square Garden. This is the awards show, and this is a crew of stars. We have the Hall of Famer, Jim Calhoun. We have a Providence Friar great, Kyron Cartwright. And we have Nick Baugh, who was so good, he split his time between Kansas and Creighton, and now with Fox Sports. And I'm John Fanta. We are so delighted to have you with us here all throughout the week from the world's most famous arena as we get ready to hear from Val Ackerman with the Big East Award winners. Coach Calhoun, you have coached 80 games inside this building. What is Big East Tournament Week at Madison Square Garden to you?
Yeah, craziest. I think there's some ways that we were fortunate enough to get some Final Fours and other things that are pretty special. Right? You know, our fans came from Connecticut on the train, and they've been outside, and if we won a game, which we tried to do win as many as we could, it was crazy just how many of them hung around. This is really a special place. I think some of the most important evenings in basketball I ever spent were the semifinals, 4 teams, the bands playing, the excitement, people getting off the trains. I remember when Allen versus Allen, Allen Iverson. I mean, some of the excitement here, the memories that will last forever, and I think our fans still talk about when we weren't in the Big East for a period of time, they want to be here. This is a special, special tournament in a very special place.
Kyron, you've played in this tournament. Before we came on the air, Nick reminded you that Ed Cooley ripped his pants when you were on the floor back in that 2018 run. What is it like for these players who are getting off that elevator this week, walking onto the floor at the Garden?
It's a very special moment. As soon as you get in that legendary freight elevator, you know, it's nothing else going on but great basketball, great energy, and it's a lot, you know, playing in it, but it's something that makes you feel good. You know, I'm from California, and even growing up, you know, dreaming of playing in the Garden, having those big-time moments, to actually go out there and live it is breathtaking. It's honestly breathtaking.
For you, Nick Baugh, what comes to mind?
Yeah, I think with conference tournaments in general, but especially here, the balance of teams trying to keep the positive momentum going if you've been playing well, and then the fact that the conference tournament always presents this opportunity to hit reset. Coach Calhoun probably knows about that. You have a situation where you got to go on a run, you got to get hot. The beauty of college basketball is the hope that comes with March, and you always have a chance to control your destiny when you get to Madison Square Garden, no matter who you are or what's happened leading up to this point. And I think the Big East tournament really exemplifies that. So that's something that's always fun for me, is that balance of the teams that are playing well, that want to keep it rolling, versus the teams that need this week to keep their season alive and keep their goals alive.
We'll see some of those teams tonight. Let's take a look at the Big East tournament bracket. Jim Calhoun, when you look at this bracket, what are your thoughts?
Holy cow. I mean, really, I say worse things on the sidelines. You know that. But more importantly, ask each of I saw some officials today. They still remember my language.
Yeah.
They say I invented new words. Anyways, more importantly, you know, you see that, and I like Seton Hall. They're getting healthy. And I could go through 3 or 4 other people the same way. And as a 1, 2, 3, 4 team, that's scary. You don't want to be looking down first day participants thinking are they going to be a big challenger for the Cup? Oh, without question. They could be sitting there on Saturday night holding up a trophy. And I think that makes this tournament, in some ways, beautiful, because we don't know what's going to happen. I've watched all the league, and I scratched my head many times. This league doesn't have just power people. It has all people.
The Providence Friars are at the top of this bracket. Kyron, how was this team able to win a regular season championship?
With a lot of grit, a lot of determination, and, you know, the players take on Cooley's identity. Cooley's a tough, hard-nosed coach, and that's something he refuses to not coach. If you're going to step on that court and you're going to wear black, white, and silver, you have to be one of the toughest people on the court at all times. And I think that's how they've done it all season. They get down, they don't get frustrated, they just fight and claw and claw and claw until they get what they want.
Yeah, for me, it's 2 things. I got my eyes on Marquette. I think they're in a very interesting spot. You have a Creighton team dealing with some point guard issues. If they were able to get past Creighton, they beat Providence and beat them pretty good at home, so they have some confidence at least in taking on the 1 seed. And then, for me, Colin Gillespie came back this year for this moment. he didn't like how last year ended with the knee injury. You're talking about a guy that Jay Wright calls the best leader he's ever coached, which is saying something when you think about Archie Diacono and Jalen Brunson and company. I'll be interested to see just how laser-focused Colin Gillespie is, because you know he's trying to go out on top, because, again, this is why he came back. So Marquette, Villanova, two teams that I'll keep my eyes on for sure.
The FS1 first-round triple-header revs up at 4:30 Eastern Time with Xavier and Butler, a big one for the Musketeers on that bubble. When we come back, Big East Commissioner Val Ackerman tips off tournament week with the awards ceremony.
get started if we could. Welcome to the Big East Basketball Awards presentation. It's especially good to be back at Madison Square Garden this year. I'm John Paquette from the Big East office. If there's anything anybody from the Big East can do for all of you this week, please let us know. Explain the format quickly. We'll have some opening remarks from Val Ackerman and also from Joel Fisher. And then Stu Jackson will introduce the freshman, coach, player of the year, and scholar athlete of the year. And we ask when the winners are announced if they could come up, receive your trophy, and we'll take pictures. Also, at the end, at the conclusion, we'd like all of the winners to come up for a group shot, and then the winners will be available informally for some interviews. So I'd like to start for some opening remarks from Commissioner Val Ackerman. Val.
Thank you, everybody. I'll echo what John said. It's just a joy to be here and to see all of you. I can't tell you how happy we are to be back at the Big East tournament, especially with fans. I'm being told by my staff that at this moment we have 3 of 4 sessions that are sold out, the quarterfinal sessions tomorrow as well as the semis on Friday, and that we're on the verge of selling out the championship game on Saturday. So what a difference a year makes. I want to acknowledge everybody associated with our basketball programs for your perseverance in keeping the Big East proud basketball traditions going through the once-in-a-century set of challenges that have been facing our country and our world. I also can't begin to express how proud we are to be celebrating our 40th consecutive Big East tournament at the most iconic basketball venue in the country. I don't think anybody can argue that the Big East tournament at Madison Square Garden sort of goes together. It's like hand in glove. It has very much established itself, we think, as a New York City as well as a college basketball staple. When you think about the tournament, you think about the games, you think about the rivalries, the raucous crowds, the iconic players and coaches, and of course it's great to see Coach Calhoun here with us this afternoon, and of course those memories that just live on and on and on and on. I can tell you that for the Big East, this building is truly home. It is in our DNA, and it's an enormous part of who we are. Our conference, as you all know, has been through extraordinary change over the past 43 years. I often find myself wondering what Coach Gavitt would think of it all. But the tournament at the Garden has truly been the constant that has withstood the test of time and then some. I will confess that we didn't know what to expect back in 2014 when we staged the first tournament after the new Big East came into being. But Doug McDermott, Bryce Cotton, and a lot of Creighton and Providence fans picked up the slack, and we really haven't looked back since then. I can tell you that I was with Dave Benedict up at Mohegan Sun earlier this week for our women's basketball tournament, and he said that Husky fans are really fired up to be back here as well. So it looks like yet another chapter is going to begin tomorrow in this long fairy tale. On behalf of the conference, I want to offer our continuing thanks to Jim Dolan, Andy Lusgarten, and Joel Fisher for 40 amazing years and for the important part that they've all played in preserving this very unique and enduring alliance and keeping such a great thing going. Joel, I will tell you that I hope we never have to go through again what we went through 2 years ago, but our partnership is, I think, better for that. We're definitely battle-tested. And with that, if you don't mind, Joel Fisher, could you come up and say a couple of words about our relationship to our assembled colleagues?
Thanks, Val. And before I start, I want to congratulate all of the winners of all the awards today. Great job for all of you guys. Like Val said, it's hard to believe that almost 2 years to the day, we were sitting in a room in the back of the Garden deciding what to do. And obviously, we all know what happened, and here we are 2 years later. There is nothing better than a sold-out Garden, which we will be for all the games, for the Big East Tournament. The Big East Tournament, as Val said, is a staple on our calendar. As far as I'm concerned, it's the best event we have the entire year. I've been fortunate. I know I don't look this old. I'm neither Val or I, but I've been here for every single game for those 40 years of the Big East Tournament. And there's nothing better. There's nothing more that I look forward to than coming to the Big East Tournament. You guys have been incredible partners, incredible people to work with, gotten to know all the coaches, the staff. There's just nobody better and more professional than you guys. And we at the Garden truly, truly value this relationship. The partnership is as strong as it has ever been, and it'll just continue to get stronger. We look for many, many more years of the tournament being here. There's so many iconic moments, and it's going to be a lot more created, I'm sure, at this tournament and tournaments to come. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being our partner. Good luck to all the teams in the event this year. It's going to be one hell of an event because anybody can win. You guys know how competitive this conference is. So we're just thrilled. We're thrilled that you're here. We're thrilled that you're our partner. And we are thrilled that fans will be back in the building. It'll be a great event. So thank you. I'll give you a hug.
I'm next, right, John? I keep going? Okay. So John and I are going to tag team on this next one here. As I'm sure everybody knows, hope you do, in 2019, we brought back the annual Big East Media Award to honor our colleagues who are print and electronic journalists who have made significant contributions to coverage of college basketball and coverage of the Big East. The first recipient of the award was legendary AP writer Jim O'Connell, a respected friend and colleague to many of us in the league. This year, we're very pleased to present the 2022 award to Rich Chvatkin, the longtime Georgetown radio play-by-play announcer. For those of you who don't know, Rich has been Georgetown's radio play-by-play announcer since 1974, which was 5 years before the Big East even came into being. Of note, this year, Rich called his 1,500th career game, making him one of the longest tenured broadcasters in college sports. What an accomplishment. Rich, before we bring you up here to make a couple of remarks, I want to turn things over to our resident historian, John Paquette, who I know wanted to make a few comments, Rich. So John, please come on back.
So when we're talking about long time, we really mean long time, right? 1974. Anyway, so when John Thompson took over at Georgetown in 1972, the games weren't on radio. So an enterprising Rich Chvatkin started making some demo tapes when he was in McDonough Arena watching Georgetown play. So Coach Thompson and the Georgetown administration, they hired him, and then they told Rich, one small detail, we don't have a station and you have to sell the advertising. But anyway, Rich did that, and amazingly through the start of the Big East, Rich has done countless Big East tournament championship games and countless Big East tournament games. And he used to, it was a different world back 20 years ago, but he used to do every game of the tournament. And he did it by himself. Rich does solo work, and which is amazing. Now, I want to mention that Rich did miss a few games in the 1990-91 season. Rich was an Army reservist and served our nation in the Iraq War as an Army psychologist. But he hasn't missed anything since. He is a fixture of Georgetown basketball and really the Big East Conference. We can't acknowledge his excellence without mentioning his trademark closing call of Hoyas win, Hoyas win. Our plaque, Rich, says simply, Big East Media Award for distinguished contributions to college basketball, Rich Chvatkin, Georgetown Radio. Rich, come on up. Okay.
thanks to Val and John and everybody in this room for this honor. You know, I started way back in 1974. And when I first started to broadcast Georgetown basketball, as Val said, there wasn't any commercial radio. So Coach John Thompson, Fran Connors, the SID, Athletic Director Frank Rienzo, and I went over to the small station in Northeast DC. And believe it or not, I went over in an Army uniform. I was still active duty at the time. And this station manager looked at me and said, "What have we here? You have 6'10" John Thompson, and you have this guy in the military wanting to be on the radio." So basically the man said to me, he said, his name was Bud Myers, he put his feet up on the desk, smoked a cigar, and said, "I'll put you on the radio. You have to pay us $10,000. You pay the line charges. You pay Rich's salary. You're good to go." So we got in a little huddle and said, what choice do we have? And the rest is history, as you all know. I've been very fortunate in the 48-year history to have some great associations. First of all, I want to thank my family to be supportive. You know, when you do 48 years of basketball with all the travel and all the ins and outs and working basically 2 jobs that I've been doing in mental health as well as this, you know, it takes a great commitment from a lot of people. And I've been fortunate outside of the Gulf War not to miss any games. And of course, special thanks to, you know, President DeGioia, Athletic Director Lee Reed, Dan O'Neill, Diana Palupa, all the people who've been very supportive on my behalf. You know, I've been very lucky. All they do is tell me, "Rich, show up at this place, show up at this time." Dan takes my bags. Diana gives me all the information, and it really makes it a pleasure to do this. That's why I've been able to kind of hang on for 48 years. And you know, when I first started doing the Big East basketball tournament in 1982, Frank Burns, our general manager, said to me, "Can you do all the games?" Because they used to do the ACC games at various stations in North Carolina and Virginia. I said, "Well, there's only 6 teams. I'll be able to do this easy." The next year we go to Madison Square Garden. Then the year after that, they started to expand to 14 teams. And they said, "Can you still do this?" I said, "I'm hanging in there. 5 games a day, 4 games on the second day, 2 games for the semifinals and the championship game." And I did that for about 8 or 9 years until the kind of that Big East era disbanded. But it's been a great run, and I'm so glad to have an opportunity to come back here this year to do all the games again, not just the Georgetown games, but just to be a part of the other games. It was so hard last year when I did the games from the studio, and I take the Uber from the house, and I drive right by Georgetown. And I couldn't even go in the building to do the game. So it's really, really glad that I'm able to come back this year and have an opportunity to be with my buddies from the various radio stations, see them again over the course of the season, as well as, again, the Big East basketball tournament. Thank you again, John and Val and the rest of the people who have been very supportive over my 48 years. You know, I've done 1,509. Tonight's 1,510, but who's counting? And I hope that we can continue the association that's really been a major part of my life and a part of my family for all these years. And thank you again for the wonderful award.
Now for our basketball awards, we'd like to bring up Stu Jackson, our Executive Senior Associate Commissioner for Men's Basketball. Stu.
Thank you very much, John, and good afternoon to all of you. I have the distinct honor of announcing the Freshman of the Year, our Big East Coach of the Year, the Scholar Athlete of the Year, and the Player of the Year. So first up on tap is our Freshman of the Year. Ryan Nembhard of Creighton University is this year's Freshman of the Year. The 6-foot guard hails from Aurora, Ontario, Canada, and attended Mount Verde Academy in Florida. For Creighton this season, Ryan was named the Big East Freshman of the Week 6 times. His talent and his leadership emerged very early during the season, during Creighton's non-conference schedule in November when Ryan hit a game-winning floater at the buzzer to beat Southern Illinois. Ryan continued to improve throughout the season. He did so while leading the youngest roster in the conference to a 4th-place finish. He averaged 11.3 points per game and led the Blue Jays in assists, steals, and minutes played before a season-ending injury to his right wrist. Ryan was also a unanimous choice to the Big East All-Freshman team. We look forward to Ryan's return next season to continue his great start to his Big East career. I want to welcome Ryan Nembhard as the Big East Freshman of the Year.
Thank you. I just wanted to say it's a great honor to receive this award, especially in such a great conference like the Big East, where you have a bunch of great freshman players. So thank you for that. First, I want to start by thanking my parents, always being there for me, always supporting me, always having my back, and being with me through thick and thin. Obviously, thank my guys over there, my team. Without them, this is definitely not possible. I just want to thank them for always being there, always pushing me, and just getting me better. And lastly, my coaches, Coach Mack, the rest of the staff, for just believing in me from day one, putting the ball in my hands and letting me play through a bunch of mistakes. So thank you, Coach. Thank you to the rest of the team. I love you guys. Appreciate it.
All right, well done, young man. And well deserved, I hear you. Next up is the Coach of the Year. This award is very difficult to award without a smile on your face. This season's Big East Coach of the Year award goes to Providence College's Ed Cooley. This season, Providence was selected 7th by the Big East coaches in their preseason poll. Paying no attention, Ed guided the Friars to their first regular season league title with a 14-3 record. Providence brings a 24-4 overall record into today's Big East tournament and is ranked 10th nationally in this week's coaches poll. The numbers only tell part of the story about Ed's ability and the season. This year's team has exhibited a collective defensive mindset. They play with a relentless physical toughness, and they led the conference in three-point shooting percentage. Adding to his excellence as a coach, Ed is an excellent tactician and has a knack of winning close games. Without a doubt, Ed is also one of the conference's most enthusiastic advocates and ambassadors. And now, he is not the only coach at PC to ever win Coach of the Year. Throughout the season, you could hear Ed imploring his squad to be them dudes. Well, Ed, they are them dudes, and you are the 2021-22 season Big East Coach of the Year. Congratulations.
Stu, thanks a lot, and love the Big East. There's no greater conference in the country, top to bottom, and there are several coaches who have deserved this award, and I'm just proud to be a recipient of it, and I appreciate the coaches for voting for me. But I think several coaches this year did a great job. Coach McDermott losing a lot of his players from last year. You saw the job that Stubblefield did with his approach. Shaka lost basically his whole team. Jay, who has the expectation every single year for his young men to continue to perform at such an elite level. But it goes to tell you the pride and the power of the Big East. So when we're in this tournament, any one of us will have an opportunity to win on any night. And I'm just fortunate to get this award along with, I can't believe I'm standing on the same podium that John Thompson stood on. You know what I mean? And I'm really proud of the presidents and ADs who make us the leader in diversity, as 6 of our 11 coaches are black. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that, and I'm pretty sure Coach Thompson is smiling down on that as well. So I appreciate that. I appreciate my son, my daughter, my wife for being here. I never thought in a million years I'd coach, I never thought in a million years I'd be a head coach. I never thought in a million years I can be standing here in front of you at the greatest place in the world to play. And we get to have an opportunity to compete for championships. I'm just so grateful. And the staff that we have, to me, it's been underrated the whole time we've been there. Jeff Battle, Ivan Thomas, Brian Blaney, Kevin Kerbeck, Bob Walsh, those guys are great. Those guys are really, really good at what they do. And you can't do this without a team that's bought in. We have a team that is totally bought in, who's just looking for an opportunity to be those dudes. And then our athletic director and Bob Driscoll, as he's retiring this year. What a retirement gift, right? Bob, you know what? Being up here, though, is going to cost you a hell of a bonus. Just putting that out there real quick. You know what I'm saying, Bob? But hey, as somebody who gave me an opportunity to come back home and be the head coach, to believe in and have the same vision and the same drive, I couldn't be more proud. So I thank the Big East, and I love the Big East. And I'm glad all of you are here to be part of this historic season as we're back in this with fans, and it's going to be crazy. The band's yelling, the popcorn's popping, everybody's buying them nasty hot dogs, right? Coach Calhoun, welcome back. It's great to see you. But what an opportunity, and I'm just grateful, so appreciative and thankful. Man, this is a dream that, you know, my sorry tale is up here saying this. So thank you all. Good luck to all the teams. Congratulations, Colin. Congratulations, Nembhard. Congratulations to you. Good luck to everybody, and God bless everybody.
Thank you very much, Ed, and we're glad to have you too. Last up, I'm pleased to announce that both the Big East Scholar Athlete of the Year and the Player of the Year awards go to Colin Gillespie of Villanova University. Each year, the Scholar of the Year award selection is made by the conference's Academic Affairs Committee. Colin will receive a $2,000 scholarship, which may be applied to his graduate or professional studies. As a Villanova graduate student this academic year, Colin compiled a 3.92 GPA, including a 4.0 GPA and a Dean's List designation during the fall semester in education, as well as being named to Villanova's AD's honor roll. This was the follow-up to a 3.2 GPA as an undergraduate in communications. Colin's accomplishments in the classroom are mirrored by his excellence on the court. He is also the Big East Conference Player of the Year. As one of the nation's top players and a likely All-American selection, Colin's guard skills and leadership skills have guided the Wildcats to a 23-7 overall record and a 16-4 mark and a second-place finish in the conference. Colin caps his outstanding collegiate career as being only the third player in the history of the conference to have won both the Scholar Athlete and Player of the Year honors in the same season. Congratulations, Colin Gillespie, men's basketball top student athlete.
First, I just want to say thank you to the coaches in the Big East for voting me for this award. It's a great honor. I have great respect for all the coaches, players in this league, and it is a true honor. Next, I'd like to thank Coach and his family for all their love and support over the years. It's been a wild, fun ride, and I'm just super grateful to be a part of it. Next, my parents, my brother and my sister, thank you guys for always supporting me, being there for me for whatever I need, and sticking by my side through everything. I appreciate all your love and support as well. And lastly, to my teammates and coaches, this is a team award for me, and Without those guys, I wouldn't be in the position that I am today. They helped me to be successful, and coach and all my teammates and coaches pushed me to be the best version of myself every day, so I'm super thankful for them. And thank you to the Big East. It's been the best 5 years of my life, and just can't wait to get back out there on the floor tomorrow. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. If we could ask all the winners to come up for a group shot, and then our winners will be available informally to the media. Thank you for coming. Looking forward to the tournament.
Colin Gillespie is now a two-time Big East Player of the Year. He coded last year. This year he's the outright winner, and he joins us now. Colin, you always talk about your teammates and what it means, but to win this distinction not once but twice in a league this good, what comes to mind?
A lot of hard work, a lot of perseverance, fighting through injuries, battling through that kind of stuff, and all that is not possible without my teammates and my coaches. Those guys helped me get back to where I was last year, and they pushed me every day in practice and gave me the confidence to just be the player that I was. So I'm super appreciative and grateful to have those guys on my side.
Colin, quick question. Why you beat up on the Samuel brothers all the time? I have one of them, the Samuel brothers. And secondly, the best part about your game is you know who you are. Most guys don't. And somewhere along the line, you knew you could post folks up. Jay Wright has something to do with that too. But when did you recognize, how am I going to be a great player in this game without trying to out-quick, out-jump? Instead, you out-play and out-think people. Did that ever, I know you didn't say it, but did you ever think it? Because that's how you play.
First, I love the Samuels brothers. Those guys, those guys are my brothers for life. And
Yeah, like you said, I think a lot of it was me seeing it from guys before me, guys like Jalen Brunson and Phil Booth, and being able to watch those guys do it, seeing them have success with it was definitely huge in my career and my development for sure. But Coach Wright has put me in a great position to be successful, and just being able to pick his brain and have him as a mentor has been really special for me, just having the ability to learn the game and how he is as a person off the field.
Well, and I think you take that, what he teaches, and put it into play. And, you know, Brunson, NBA. And you think about different guys, you don't get there because you can jump the highest, shoot the best. You get there because you know what you are, and you certainly do. And that's why you play. I'm really proud of you, man. I want to tell you that.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Coach.
Is this one, you never want to pit two awards against each other, but is this one almost a little more sweet than last year because of the injury and the decision to come back? Is this one a little sweeter?
A little bit. I think it speaks a lot to just my teammates and my coaches helping me get back to that point. Because obviously at times you have doubts about an injury like that. You don't know if you'll ever get back to the same spot that you were, and it's tough. You have good days and you have bad days, but those guys kept me up, kept my confidence up, and last year was surreal because I won it with J-Rob and Sandro, two great players, and there were a lot of guys this year that could have won Player of the Year. There were a lot of great players in the league, a lot of great teams, so the conference was great this year, and it was deep with players who could have won this award, so I'm just super grateful and honored.
You're on top of the world in the Big East now, but I'm going to take you back to when you first walked in the doors of Villanova University. Tell us what your first Jay Wright practice experience was like.
Yeah, it was changed from high school for sure. Obviously, you know that it's way different, but just the attention to detail, how hard you have to play on every possession, and the speed of the game, the competition, and the physicality of the game is way different. So it was definitely it was tough for me at first to adjust, and I had older guys I was competing against, guys who were in third, fourth year, and I was 17 years old when I walked in, not knowing what it was going to be. So it was definitely tough, but having those guys there to push me every day, and they were beating up on me early on, and you learn from that and you get better from that. So I'm just appreciative of those guys as well.
Well, Colin, we appreciate you, and congratulations on Big East Player of the Year.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Congrats, Colin.
We'll be back with more award winners after this.
So would you
Ryan Nembhard is the Big East Freshman of the Year, the Creighton Blue Jays star point guard with us now. And Ryan, it is great to see you. We're wishing you luck here as you go through this recovery. What is this moment for you to receive the top rookie distinction in this league?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great honor. Like I said, just great to see that all the work I've been putting in this whole year and my whole life is kind of paying back and working out. And it's just great. It's kind of like a team award for me, just because we've had so much success this year, my guys. So it's been great, and it's an honor to get this award.
When did the confidence really click for you? You came in confident, but every time you go up a level, there are checkpoints you got to hit. Was it early in practice? Was there a game? Was it the game winner against Southern Illinois? What was the turning point for you?
It kind of happened pretty early for me,
Yeah.
honestly. Probably just seeing that the coaches really believed in me, knowing that Coach Mack believed in me, put the ball in my hands, had me out there for a good majority of the game. So just knowing that everybody believed in me, my teammates believed in me, the coach believed in me. So pretty early on, I had that confidence for sure.
I have a little bit of a different question for you. So we all know your coach is one of the more cool, calm, and collective coaches in the Big East. And I have some inside sources from my team that I coach, and they say he never yells at players. And he's a tough coach, but he never yells. So how does he inspire you guys as a team, you as a player, and how does he get his point across so efficiently to you guys in a different way?
I think it's just his approach every single day. He comes in with, like you said, a steady mind. He's never really too high, too low. So I think that instills a confidence in our team and our players that we just need to do the right thing. And every once in a while, he definitely raises his voice. He's a coach, so they definitely raise their voice every once in a while. So when he does that, you know it's on, and you really gotta perform for sure.
Talk to me about your brother.
Yes, sir.
And your family, big basketball family. What did they instill into you that got you ready for this year and ultimately get on this stage and get this award?
Yeah, my brother, obviously, like you said, he's a big influence in my basketball career. He's obviously played 4 years or 3 years before I got into college basketball. So much experience that he's had. He's obviously passed that down to me, and he's just been teaching me the nuances of the game and showing me little things that he sees in film that I could do better or things that I could change. So having a big brother like that is always great. And then obviously my dad was my coach growing up. So he always has something to say, and I'm all ears when it comes to them too, for sure.
This week at the Big East tournament, we all wish that you were out on the court.
Yes, sir.
What do you view as your role on this Creighton team this week?
Yeah, I think ever since I got hurt, my role has just been to keep the guys together. Obviously, Trey's kind of playing a new role now. That's probably one of my best friends on the team. So keeping the guards kind of in a good mindset. Seeing from the bench now, it's kind of like I'm a coach on the bench now, so I get to see different things. You see the game a little different when you're just watching, so I can talk to those guys, help them with anything they need, and if they have questions, I'm there for them for sure.
Another different type of approach a question. The fans of Creighton, I've been there, I've played against them, even here in the Garden. It's so loud you could barely hear yourself think. I don't think I was able to ever call a play. How do they energize you guys as a team? How do they also help to get you guys going? What does their community mean to you?
No, they're in my opinion, the best fan base in college basketball. Obviously, I have a little bias, but they're great. Every home game this year has been crazy. When I was playing, when I'm not playing. So they're just great for us. They give us that energy spark we need at certain times when you're in a little flat spot. So they've been great, and I can't wait to get back in front of them next year when I get everything healed up. So for sure.
How much did, when you committed to Creighton, seeing the style, in particular Marcus Zagorowski's success he had, did you instantly see yourself like I fit perfectly? Because I remember the first time I watched you play and then watched you practice, I'm like, this is the perfect player to run Greg McDermott's system. Was it as instantaneous for you when you started getting recruited by Creighton?
Oh, definitely. As soon as they started recruiting me, I kind of seen me and my dad researched their play style for years past, and you could see it with Marcus. I could just see how I could fit in myself. I've obviously watched Maurice Watson too, so it was such an easy transition for me. They play fast, they get up a lot of shots, and they got a bunch of shooters that give me easy assists. So I love playing in this system, and it's been great for sure.
Ryan, congratulations on this high honor, and I'll leave you with this. It says everything about you, talking with your teammates and your coaches, how emotional they were when you did go down with the injury, and they said it says all that much more about a freshman that he could make that much of an impact in about 10 months.
Yes, sir.
So congratulations.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Good job, Ryan.
That is Ryan Nembhard. After this, we're with Ed Cooley, the Big East Coach of the Year. For the first time, Ed Cooley is the Big East Coach of the Year, leading the 24-4 Providence Friars. And Coach, you talked a little bit about it at the podium. Reflecting on this honor, I think of the man sitting to your right as well. What is this distinction for you?
I feel so humble and appreciative to the coaches. Obviously, Coach Calhoun, grew up watching the Big East, watching how he built a monster program down in Stores, and just trying to, appreciate the moment. I think of Coach Skinner. He gave me a job at the University of Rhode Island and believed in me and, really helped me get to this point. I remember him being the Big East Coach of the Year and us competing in the Big East and trying to, go head-to-head against your team. So it was, this is about my family as well. As you know, in coaching, everything's taken away from your family. So to have them here, to have Bob Driscoll here, and you can't do it without players that buy in. You need a buy-in in order to get to where you're trying to go to.
I have a question for you, Coach. One of the things that always stood out to me, one of the sayings you had when we were at Providence, was you always like to coach men and not problems. And with this group of people, you had some of them for 1 year, you had Nate for 5 years, a varying group of people. What does it mean to you to watch them grow as men within the game and also outside of the court?
As you know, Kyron, who, great player for us, he competed here, came close to winning the chip with us. I think you have to be really open and honest with players, and as you'll see them get closer to you just because of your transparency. As you know, in coaching, there's some philosophy as well. Yet at the same time, when them players feel you care for them beyond the game, they'll give you their heart and soul, and then to see them grow as men, as I've seen you grow, as you're sitting here, as we're sitting here, Coach, with Kyron Cartwright, who like I have a beam of like love for you. It's awesome to have that buy-in from guys in a short period of time.
Well, you're a very good X&O coach, and I appreciate that. I'll tell you what you are, though. Very few people can take their toughness. Now, he's a terrific guy, unlike me. He's a wonderful person. But he's able to take that toughness and give it to his players. I thought this year, and I kidded you, how'd you do it every night? Because every night was a ringer. More importantly, what I saw with you, it was tough with you, and that doesn't always happen. You were able to, at times, will them to win. And I think that's an unusual trait. Not everybody can do it. The reason you Coach of the Year, because you deserve it, number one, and you did something that's very extraordinary. You're a very good team. Are you the best team? It's not important. You were the best team.
Right.
And you played that way. The biggest thing you did, you gave your kids a will that wouldn't be beat, and that's why you're the Big East champs.
Coach, I've learned from a lot of you in our league. Obviously, I'm born and bred in the Big East. I saw how you instilled confidence in your guys. I saw how Coach Skinner instilled confidence. And the thing is, you got to talk about, you got to practice toughness as well. You got to practice it. You can't just show up. You got to talk about it and how important the game honors toughness. You don't have to be the most talent. You don't have to have the best player. But if you're collectively tough and have a common mission to be great, not to be good, to be great. And if you're not great and you settle for good, you may win some games. And I always ask them, please give me an opportunity to coach you with 4 minutes to play. If we're down 20 with 4 minutes to play, we got no shot. But if we're down 1 or 2 baskets, I trust in our staff and I believe in what we do.
And you believe in the heart that you develop in the teams. I can see, I don't have to be at your practice. I can see what your practice is like. You get on the floor, get up. Unless you were shot from above.
It's one of my pet peeves. One of my pet peeves in coaching. I can't stand somebody that just falls. It drives me bananas. Like, you just fall. Like,
Did you ever do that?
No, Kyron didn't fall. Not after the first 2 times. He got.
We learned how to get up quick.
Real quick. I said those who are on the floor probably don't play a lot.
No, I love to watch tough teams that have joy in the game. You've given that to your kids, and that's, you don't always be able to pass it to everybody, but you pass it to this group of kids, and for that you did an incredible job, and I'm really proud of you, man. I've known you a long time, and I'm really proud of what you did.
I appreciate it, Coach. I've never been more proud of a group in a short period of time, and I've had some good teams, great teams, whatever you want to call it. I've never had a connected team like this in my entire coaching career. In BC as an assistant, really good teams there, pros there. But what I didn't have is the connectiveness of this group, and I hope it brings us to, greater heights.
Well, lastly, whatever you were selling, they were buying.
Absolutely.
And that's the most single important thing. And it takes a unique ability, night after night, to get those kids to believe and push them. Now, I always just say, I push them like hell for 2 hours a day, and I have them back for 22.
Absolutely.
And that's who we are.
No, I appreciate that, Coach. I do.
Coach, for 4 years, it's getting a lot of recognition now, but for 4 years, me personally, I always heard, if you guys can give me a chance, you keep the game close enough, and you give me a chance to help you guys win this game, we'll find ourselves on top more times than we find ourselves on the bottom. So with this year, you've won a lot of close games, but that's always been the case for us.
I like hearing that, us, by the way.
When you get in those moments, how do you balance letting the players make plays along with trying to figure out when do you need to step in and give your guidance?
I think it's important to know your team. You got to know when they need your help, and you got to know when to get the hell out the way. And with a veteran group, you don't want to be in their way. They've been there. We've practiced it. We do our offensive, defensive execution drills every day, and you come back to that in the huddle. One of the defining moments this year was at Butler. We were down, I think, 19 or 18 it was, and I think we were out of timeouts with about 18 minutes left to play, and there was a timeout called, Coach. I didn't walk to the huddle. I walked in back of the huddle, and they were looking for me. I said, y'all know what you're doing. Figure it out. And I thought that was a defining moment as far as connectiveness with this year's group.
I did the same thing during the NCAA tournament. We were pressing to get layups. I said, in practice every day, go do it. I have no advice for you. We won that game.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes you got to use it.
Coach Calhoun talked about what makes this week so special at the Garden. And last night you said, relishing this opportunity. That's what this week is about. Why is it special?
It's the Big East tournament, buzzer beaters, the legendary coaches, the legendary players. I appreciate Madison Square Garden for keeping the Big East as their primary postseason team conference. There's no better venue in all of sport, in my opinion, my biased opinion, than the Big East tournament. Great things have happened in this building, and more are to come. I hope we're part of it. But when you look at just look at the history of the league. The league is incredible. Great players, great coaches, and I'm just humbled to be sitting in the seat that I'm sitting in.
I'm going to say one more thing. This is a neighborhood tournament. What do you mean? We're all kind of from here.
Absolutely.
We all kind of grew up on it. Dave Gavitt. And it's like fighting in the neighborhood. Those are the people that you love the most, you want to beat the most.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think people lose that. When you get this building, everybody knows your name like cheers. But they really do. They really do. And I just think that Ed's feeling what I felt. When they used to say, time out, Garden, John Condon, boys. I remember that. Because this is a special place with special teams. And it's a neighborhood battle, which makes it so much more fun.
We all know one thing. Bill Raftery's buying.
Bill Raftery's definitely buying, for sure. I can't wait to run his bill up. It's coming. It's coming.
I love it. That is Ed Cooley. Ed, congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We're back with more after this.
Coach, I appreciate it.
Let's talk more about the Big East Conference with the Executive Associate Commissioner of Men's Basketball at the Big East. It is Stu Jackson. And Stu, it's one of our favorite days of the year to kick it off with the podium and then get into game action. What are your overarching thoughts about this league?
Well, it's interesting. I get the sense from everybody that's a part of this tournament, whether it be the media or the fans or our staff. Everyone is just extremely excited to have this tournament back in front of fans. But there's a real anticipation about the upcoming competition that is just undeniable. So if I seem excited, I am. It's going to be a great tournament.
Well, I just think, and I was just talking to Ed Cooley, the same thing. It's kind of a neighborhood rivalry. As a Pennsylvania guy, you know that. And it is. It's a fight amongst guys you know and care about and want to kick their butt.
Yeah.
And I just think that gives us the uniqueness. We aren't traveling around all the world, Madison Square Garden, the Mecca. Everybody knows your name. Like Cheers, they do. And I just think it makes it so much more special. I think we agree with this. It makes it so much more special when you get in here and you have great competition, a league based upon toughness, from John to all the rest of us that coach in this league. And there's a familiarity which doesn't just breed contempt because you want to beat them. What it breeds is love and caring about something very special. And Dave Garrett was the genius enough to start the Big East. I don't have to tell you, you know what he did.
Yeah. No, Coach, you hit it on the head, and it's the one quality about our conference, and I say this to many people, that is unique. And I credit our coaches and our ADs. They have an ability to come together and understand what the big picture issues are with the conference and come to some agreement and keep their own competitiveness and self-serving themselves out of the picture. But then when they get to the court, they go to war.
All hell breaks loose.
Yeah, all hell breaks loose.
I mean, Jimmy Valvano once said to me, I go to games of the ACC, it's really good basketball. But then I go to Syracuse, UConn game, they fill the ball up, and all hell broke loose. Yelling at the players. I said, that's love, man. We love each other.
There's no question.
That's great. Stu, there's been great continuity in the league with the coaches, a lot of long-tenured coaches, but you've had a couple of new guys as well, Shaka Smart, Tony Stubblefield, really come in and I think have made their presence felt right away. What have you seen from some of the new coaches?
Yes, without question. I mean, you look at Shaka Smart, and he basically didn't have a roster when he accepted the job and was able to take advantage of retaining a few players and entering the transfer portal. But, okay, that's all fine and good. You got to put them together into a cohesive team, and he was able to do that, in a hurry. And, Tony Stubblefield was in a very similar position, and in a position at DePaul where he not only had to get new players, but he really had to instill that winning culture that didn't really exist, before he got on board. And he's just done an outstanding job. Both of these coaches have in terms of the way that their teams are organized, the way that they compete each night, and it's just something great to see. I think the future's bright for both of them.
Stu, here's my takeaway from today. Jim Calhoun is available to get back on the sidelines this weekend.
Yeah.
Well, Stubblefield might beat me. I'll tell you one thing. You talk about intensity. I feel like I'm laying back in a rocking chair when I watch Stubblefield coach.
You're in a rocking chair?
Comparatively. It's all comparative. Life is not about comparison. No, I really enjoy the coaches because that's what this league is based on. When you walk in the room, and I'm going to give a couple names. Rolly, Louie, Jimmy, John. Go right through the list. Boeheim, legendary. And we're starting to do that again.
Yeah.
We're starting to do that again. And I just think it's great for the league. This is a league that changed my life in many ways. I love coaching Northeast and other places, but this is a league over 26 years changed my life. And I love this league, and I love what's happening to it.
Yeah. No, it's, and that's a credit to Val and just her leadership over the last 9 years. I mean, let's face it, Coach. When the Big East was realigned 9 years ago, nobody really knew what was going to happen. And to see where we are at this point today with a sold-out Madison Square Garden, basically for all the sessions, great competition, great coaches, terrific players. It's got to warm your heart, I know.
No, it does. And I just think all of us feel that way about it. I just think that, and you asked before about the venue, it's the best.
Yeah.
I know what they say with prejudice. I started coming here and couldn't believe an event. I played in the 8-9 game a couple times as a coach when there was an 8-9 game. and I've been at the championship level too. All of it, though, is special because you're here. And that's with the coaches and players that we have.
Fun stuff.
Stu Jackson, thank you for the time, and let's enjoy this week.
Yeah, thank you very much, John, for having me. And like I said, I really am sitting here with royalty, and you're the only one of the four of us that actually has a fat head in the stands. I mean, that's true achievement, John. You're special.
I'm not available to check in. I'm more fit for the concession stand.
I love it.
That's where I make my hay.
All right.
Thank you, Stu. We're back after this to take one last look at the bracket and get these guys' big predictions. The awards have been handed out. Now let's play some basketball. We are less than 60 minutes away from the Big East tournament tipping off. Xavier and Butler first up. Musketeers have a top 40 net, but this is looked at as a must-win game for them. St. John's and DePaul to come. Javon Freeman Liberty versus Julian Champagny, top two scorers in this league. And then Seton Hall and Georgetown. Pirates have won their last 5 games. The Hoyas are the reigning Big East tournament champions, have nothing to lose. So, as we begin to close things out, Coach Calhoun, if anyone knows what it's like when you're playing 4, 5 games in 5 days, in this case it would be 4 games in 4 days, if you're one of the coaches here that has to play in the first round, what is your mindset?
No factor. It really isn't. You go home and practice, and I can yell and scream at you. Here you have 19 people celebrating you playing well. I told the kids that during the 5-game, 5-day stuff. Remember, 4 of the teams were top 20 teams. So people forget how good that was when we went on to win 6 straight in the NCAA tournament. And my point being, we're a young team, had a couple bumps in the road, some injuries, and then a kid named Kimball Walker, our leader, along with Shabazz Napier, Jeremy Lamb, guys who are all NBA players, found themselves here. So I don't care if you have to play. Kids want to play the game, and they want people yelling and saying nice things to them when they win. So I told them, better up hearing the crowd than hearing me.
Nick, who's the team or teams that you have your mind on, whether it be tonight or in this tournament?
Well, tonight, Seton Hall. Seton Hall's playing arguably their best basketball of the season right now, and Kevin Willard's done a really good job retooling his roster. He loses Bryce Aiken, his starting point guard. Kevin Willard said he basically had to throw out his entire playbook, had to kind of commit to about 4 or 5 different conceptual plays. And he's got an interesting point guard now in Kadari Richmond at 6'6". That's a matchup problem. He can play with his back to the basket. They're a team that could take a page out of the Jim Calhoun playbook with Kemba Walker, and they could come out of tonight and get all the way to Saturday night. So in terms of a team that I think is worth keeping an eye on tonight, it's Seton Hall.
Kyron, your big prediction for this tournament, what is it?
I don't have a prediction, but I would say my team to kind of look out for, I think, is St. John's.
Whoa!
Exactly. Thank
All
you.
right. Stop
St.
the presses
John's.
I like
here.
it.
Tell us.
Give it
Well,
to me.
St. John's, from the outside looking in, for most people who don't watch a lot of basketball, they run a pro-style offense, which is, it's more actions than set play calls. But the one thing that they do have is spectacular defense. And when that defense clicks, they're going to get a lot of easy buckets, and it's going to get their players playing with a lot of confidence. So if they're able to get those turnovers, force and get a lot of easy buckets, and those players get playing with confidence, you only have to be better for one night to advance. And I think they can be a very dangerous team.
I can hear Louie from here.
Yeah, I can too. The only problem about pressing teams in tournament play, 3 or 4 games. I'm naming the last team. I'm going to help you with this. This is UCLA that won with a pressing team, 2-2-1. And my point being, it's hard to keep pressing because some teams can really beat you. A couple teams, I like St. John's. You're right, and they're dangerous. Creighton dangerous, even without the point guard. I love Seton Hall getting healthy at the right time. And I'd be remiss if I didn't tell the truth. UConn. UConn. A very talented team that when their three guys play well, Martin, Cole, and Sonogo, when they play well, they're as good as anybody in this tournament and a lot of tournaments. So those are the three teams I would say they have a chance. I think, and I'll make this statement because I've been thinking about this, I would think that Greg McDermott is the new John Beilein. Offensively,
wow.
Offensively, they run great stuff every year, no matter who they have. The big kid now is a factor.
Yeah.
When they had other players, the point guard, not so much. I love the league, obviously, but those are the three teams I kind of look at. I didn't want to play Creighton because they can make shots.
Yeah. Well, the thing, Creighton's different this year, too, in the sense you talk about the big kid. They got the best defensive efficiency group, according to Ken Palm, in the league, which is totally not how Creighton had been in years past. And that's something that, I don't know if you agree with this, Coach. When you win a conference tournament, there's probably going to be at least one night that you got to win a rock fight grinder. You're not making a bunch of shots.
Correct.
And Creighton in years past, they weren't really built to win games like that. They needed to make threes. This team could do that. Their bread and butter and their strength of this team is probably their ability to defend the rim and their frontline guys. So I'm with you, Coach. Even though they've lost Ryan Nembhard, the crux of their team is still in place with Kalkbrenner defending the rim.
Well, when you can score like that, it's a big difference. And I always said this. You're going to get – I remember the years at Pitt, the great teams at Pitt, okay, under Ben and Jamie. The problem with them is every game had to be a low-scoring game. They get caught in a high-scoring game. People said, why don't they get to a Final Four? Because it made it more difficult on the other end, offensively. Right. You got to be able to play, and you hit it on the head, a number of different ways, because you don't determine how the officials call the game, how the other team wants to play. You can't say, don't play a zone tonight. It doesn't work quite that way.
Right.
So my point being, you got to be able to win games in tournament play in a number of different ways, and good teams can do that.
Stu Jackson was right. I am surrounded by greatness, and we're going to be with you throughout the week here. Our coverage continues with you later tonight on a special Big East shoot-around. Megan Caffrey will have it. These guys will be here, and we'll have interviews after games, reaction after games. We're with you all week long. Did you pack 4 outfits?
Exactly 4.
That's all I needed. That's all I needed.
I'm here for the championship. That's
there we go.
Well, you've never not been. You've never not been when you step in here. So it seems that way. For Jim Calhoun, Kyron Cartwright, Nick Baugh, our production crew, they've got to get to work. We're going to catch our breaths. I'm John Fanta. The Big East tournament is here, and it is beautiful.